Hi there guys, today we're talking about Joy Division, or more specifically Warsaw. Hi there guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time. If it is your first time, hit like and subscribe below. Now today, as you saw in the thumbnail, we're talking about the band Joy Division, or more specifically the band they were before they were Joy Division, when they were called Warsaw. Now back in the early 80s, there was a bootleg album released called the Warsaw album, or that's what fans called it anyway. It was just called Warsaw. And there's the sleeve. This is an original from the early 80s. I don't know the exact date of release of this. I think it was about 1982, something like that. This was on the RZM or the RZM records label. It was quite clearly a bootleg. When it first came out, this was released with a 4-track EP of Peel sessions. I haven't got that EP. It didn't come with that, but this goes for quite a lot of money now. You know, I've seen this going for £75 to £100 in the UK. The original Warsaw album. I've always liked the jacket on this. I've always liked the use of the Unknown Pleasures imagery on this. I've always thought it fit this album really, really well. Now, roll forward to 2018, and it's Record Store Day, and leading up to Record Store Day, rumours are abound that we're going to be getting the Warsaw album for Record Store Day, and an image of it even appears on the Record Store Day website. Now, a few weeks before Record Store Day, that image is pulled from the website, and then there is no more news of the Warsaw album being released. The label that was going to be releasing it was Vinyl Passion. They had the images and everything ready to rock and roll. Then they just pulled the pin on it. Now, whether there was issues with licensing or whatever, I do not know. But it didn't see the light of day. However, at the exact same time, more or less, this was released on the Dol Records label, D-O-L, Dol. I believe this is a Russian record label. This is the Warsaw album, the tracks from the Warsaw album. This was released pretty much around about the same time as Record Store Day in 2018. A lot of unscrupulous eBay sellers were selling this as the Record Store Day release, but it wasn't. This was not the Record Store Day release. It didn't even look like the imagery on the Record Store Day website. However, I bought it. This cost me, if I remember rightly, about £11 from Amazon, and it was pretty good when I got it. Like I say, it just features the tracks from the album. Anyway, whiz forward to 2025. We're now in November, right on the cusp of December 2025. We're getting near Christmas. And I'm trawling the internet, as I do occasionally, and I suddenly saw this image on Juno Records website. So that piqued my interest. I think it was about £20, if I remember rightly. So I ordered it. And what came in the post the following day, because Juno Records are pretty good with their shipping, next day delivery, I got this. This is the aforementioned Vinyl Passion release of the Warsaw album. This is a fantastic package. The way it's been packaged, it's a very basic record sleeve, but the information on the back, everything's correct. The record comes in a polylined inner. We'll go into this a little bit more deeply in a minute, but first of all, I just want to talk about the recording sessions for the Warsaw album. So I think it must have been about early 1978. Joy Division were doing demos for a proposed album for RCA Records. So they recorded what the tracks for the Warsaw album, but the producer wanted to add some synthesizers to make it more current, but they wanted to remain more gritty and punk, and they didn't like the use of synthesizers back then. So there was also a lot of hoo-haing over the management and this, that and the other. Basically, the RCA deal was shelved and it was never brought to fruition. It was then after that obviously someone got the RCA tapes and bootlegged it and brought this out. Through the years, there's been a few different pressings of this record. There was a CD version. I used to have that. I don't have it anymore. With what they call it, the baby cover of the Warsaw album. Sounds pretty good, but in all honesty, that cover was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Whoever came up with that design concept needs shooting, in my book. But anyhow, so they recorded the tracks for RCA, it was shelved, and they then went on to get signed to Factory Records. They recorded with Martin Hannett, and the rest, as they say, is history. But the recordings from the Warsaw album sessions, they have always been sitting there bubbling away in the background. Fans have always wanted a really good representation of the bootleg. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to discuss the quality of each of these pressings. I have these three here. I'm going to discuss the quality of these and tell you what I think, in my opinion, is the best one to get if you're on the market for the Warsaw album. So, without further ado, let's crack on with this. And the first one I want to talk about is the original, the OG, the Warsaw album from the early 80s. You can pick this up on eBay. This will cost you north of £75, I think. If you want it with the the 4-track EP, it's going to cost more than that, more like £100. It's on pretty poor quality vinyl. It's typical 80s vinyl. It's wobble board quality. Yeah, there's nothing on here that indicates what year it is made or anything like that. The dead wax, very basic in the dead wax. Let me just show you the actual jacket. So there's the front, you've seen the front, there's the back. So you've got all of this for you. It was later properly named The Drawback, which is its proper name. Leaders of Men, They Walked in Line, Failures, Novelty, No Love Lost, and on side B you've got Transmission, Living in the Ice Age, Interzone, Warsaw and Shadow Play. What can I say about the quality of this? The quality of this is pretty shocking. There's phasing throughout this pressing. It sounds appalling, and honestly, unless you're a hardened collector, I would leave well alone. I wouldn't go near this with a barge pole. It's a curio. It's an original curio, and its only real relevance is as a museum piece. That is it. It sounds awful. Next we get on to this pressing of the Warsaw album, and I shall show you the record in here. Now this record is 180 gram, it's pretty flat, it's pretty good quality vinyl, it's not too bad, to be fair. There's the back of the jacket. There you go. A highly acclaimed UK post-punk band, Joy Division, was originally called Warsaw. Very basic liner notes there. Very, very basic. Manufactured in Europe, high quality virgin vinyl, 180 gram, printed in 2013 by Doll, a trademark of Vinology, vinology.ru. So I was right, they're Russian, those damned Ruskies. So there you go, that's the Doll version of the Warsaw album. Now the sound quality of this is really, really good, actually. When I first got this, I thought this was, well, it just blew the original out of the water. This sounds really good, and in comparison to the CD, the baby CD version, this was actually a little bit better, I think, than the CD version. This had a little bit more in the bass end on it, but we'll come back to that in a minute. I want to talk a little bit more about this when I discuss this next pressing, which is the latest one. Now, this one is the Vinyl Passion release. This is the one that was meant to come out on Record Store Day in 2018, but didn't see the light of day. This is expanded more than the other two versions of the Warsaw album. There's something not quite right with this pressing, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So on this side A, you've got the drawback. Leaders of Men, They Walked in Line, Failures, Novelty, No Love Lost, Transmission and Living in the Ice Age. So straight away, they've put two of the tracks from side B at the end of side A. And then side B carries on with Interzone, Warsaw, Shadow Play. Then we get a track called As You Said. Now, As You Said was recorded during the Closer sessions. It was the second track on the Comachino flexi disc that was given away in record stores at the time. I don't understand what that's doing there, but it is. It's just a little instrumental thing that goes on for about a minute and a half. We then get bonus tracks. Now, these bonus tracks were recorded in 1977 at Pennine Sound Studios in Manchester. And that is Inside the Line, Guts, At a Later Date, The Kill, and You're No Good For Me. These are all sort of pretty much punk tracks, which they recorded when they were sort of finding their way in their early days, when they were actually still called Warsaw. They recorded the RCA album after they changed their name to Joy Division, but there's a bit of a crossover there. But like I said, they've got the track As You Said, and I really don't know why they put that on here. I really don't know why that's on here. But what I will say is the track listing on here is exactly the same, if my memory serves me well, as the baby CD. So I'm wondering if this was a direct transfer from the CD or not. But it's got lots of information on the back, a nice job on the liner notes. You've got all the information down there from where it was recorded. So there's the track listing. Like I said, you've got the side B, you've got As You Said right in the middle. I do not know what that is doing on this album. I don't think I would have put it on there. Right, let's talk about sound quality of this. This sounds as good as this, but it's not as loud. This is not cut as loud as the Doll pressing. Also, the Doll pressing only has the Warsaw album, so consequently the tracks are spaced out better. They've actually crammed more on this, and possibly the sound quality suffers a little bit from that. There's less bass low end on this pressing, but I'll tell you what, I prefer it. When I listen to now I've got this latest pressing, now when I listen to this, I find this too boomy on the bottom end. This is really boomy and bassy and loud for the sake of it, and there's not much detail in it. But when I play this, it is a much better enjoyable listen, to be fair. So, and it comes in a polylined inner, as I said a little while ago, and I really love the label. I think the label's really nice. Oh, there we go. Like I say, the only thing that I can see a little bit weird on this is putting that track from the Closer sessions on there. Why? I mean, none of that As You Said track is not even from the same period as the Warsaw album or the Warsaw demos, indeed, in 1977. You know, they're a year apart, 78, and then you've got a 2-year gap till we get to 1980 and the Closer sessions, which were recorded at Britannia Row in North London, in Islington. But other than that, other than As You Said being on here, which is a little bit of a head scratcher, what's it doing there? This is a really good find. It's about £20, I think, at the moment. It was sort of released with no fanfare. But if you're into Joy Division, and I think if you want the definitive version of the Warsaw album, I would get this one. I love the artwork as well. It's very Joy Division, obviously. It just works, and I really, really highly recommend it if you're on the market for a copy of the Warsaw album. Like I say, the original OG, I would leave well alone. That is absolutely appalling and sounds dreadful. The Dole pressing, you can still buy that, but personally speaking, to my ears, it's too boomy and too loud in the bottom end. This version, I think, is a better listening experience. Is it audiophile? Of course it's not. These are essentially demos and really underproduced, an underproduced album that wasn't really, it was destined for release but was shelved. So I don't even know if the 2-track masters still exist of these. I'm assuming they do. The original 77 bonus track, I guess the master tapes of those are long gone and they're probably working off cassette tapes and stuff like that. But the actual Warsaw album, I would think the master tapes, the 2-track masters probably still exist. Maybe in the vaults at RCA, maybe, I don't know. But I would suspect that this was cut from digital files from the CD version, the baby. I think what we've got here is an improvement because they've got rid of that crap cover. We've got a decent package now that sounds pretty reasonable and passable and worth having in your collection. So with all that aside and out of the way, hope you enjoyed the video and I shall see you in the next one. Cheers, bye-bye. Hello, Ralph. Hello. Hello. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, oh, good boy. Good boy. Yeah, good boy, aren't you? Yeah, you are.